Ever get a note, like one of those messages that just doesn't quite sit right? Seems simple at first, but later you're like, wait, what? That's kind of what we're dealing with as we deep dive into Maura Murray's disappearance.
Yeah, and that note, I mean, it could be really key here. Like trying to understand what Maura was thinking, before February 9th, 2004. That's huge.
Totally. Because before we even get to that day, that freezing cold day in New Hampshire, we have to figure out, like, who was Maura? On paper, it seems kind of, I don't know, simple. 21, studying nursing at UMass Amherst, obviously took her education, seriously good student, went to a military academy before college.
Driven, for sure.
No.
Focused. But then you look closer, like the weeks before she vanishes, and things aren't so simple.
And that's where this deep dive gets interesting, right? Because it wasn't just textbooks and exams for Maura. There was that car accident, her dad's car. And not just a fender bender. She totaled it.
Right, and then there's this whole thing with a stolen credit card. Could have meant serious legal trouble.
Hold up, stolen credit card. That doesn't exactly scream nursing student.
Exactly. Makes you think, right? Like, was there a side to Maura we don't know about? Maybe she was dealing with something big.
Which brings us back to that note. The death in the family note she sent to her professors, her work.
And that's a huge red flag, because there wasn't a death in the family. So what was she doing? Was this like her way of disappearing, trying to make it harder to find her?
Creating a smoke screen, almost.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, if she was planning to disappear, what was the plan? And how does the car crash fit in? It's just weird, layer upon layer of weird. It's like she wanted to disappear, but then, bam, this very public accident. So February 9th, 2004. What do we actually know about what Maura did that day?
Well, it starts pretty normal, actually. I mean, as normal as it can be when you're about to disappear, I guess. Maura gets some cash from an ATM, not a lot, buys a little alcohol, heads back to her dorm.
And leaves that note for her boyfriend, the one that's never been, like, officially released.
Right, exactly. Which just adds to the whole mystery, Like, what did it say? Just a regular note, like, see you later, or something more. We may never know. What we do know is that later that night, 7:3-ish, a couple driving on Route 112 in Haverhill, New Hampshire, sees something strange. Maura's car, a Saturn, dark-colored, it's off the road, wedged in by some trees.
Route 112, that's pretty remote, right? Like, I'm picturing dark, kind of creepy woods.
Yeah, not exactly a major highway. And this is where our next, I guess you could say, character enters the picture. Butch Atwood, a local bus driver. His name has probably come up in, like, every Maura Murray theory out there.
Right, Atwood. He's one of the last people to see her before she vanishes.
Exactly. He sees the accident, stops to help, good Samaritan. And Maura, according to Atwood, she's shaken up but says she already called for help.
But didn't you say there weren't any cell phone records of a call?
Exactly. And it gets weirder. When the police show up, and we're talking minutes later, Maura's gone. No note, no sign of a struggle, nothing. Just her car, locked, with her stuff still inside.
Wait, locked? That's weird, right? If she wandered off, wouldn't she leave it unlocked?
You'd think so, wouldn't you? It's one of those details that doesn't quite make sense. And then there's this fresh snow on the ground, but basically zero footprints leading away from the car.
No footprints.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's like she just disappeared. This is where things go from kind of strange to full-blown unsolved mysteries, right? So we've got a crashed car, middle of nowhere, missing nursing student, no footprints, and like a million questions. Time for theories, right?
This case, it's practically begging for them. And over the years, oh yeah, there have been plenty trying to explain what happened to Maura.
Which makes sense. You hear those details, you're trying to put the pieces together.
Yeah.
But like you said earlier, we got to be careful, right? Can't just go down the rabbit hole without like actually looking at the evidence. Or in this case, maybe what's not there.
Exactly. So let's start with one that's, well, it's always been a big one. Did Maura just take off? Disappeared on purpose?
The whole new identity, new life thing definitely happens.
Right, and there are things that kind of fit. We know Maura was stressed, like really stressed, before February 9th, accident, the credit card thing. Maybe she just wanted out, a clean slate.
And that note to her boyfriend, which we still haven't seen, could be a goodbye, right? But here's what gets me. If she did disappear on purpose, wouldn't she have contacted someone by now? Her family? Even just a, hey, I'm okay, somewhere along the line. It's been, what, almost 20 years?
Big question mark, a really big one, which is why we got to look at other possibilities too, including, maybe it was an accident, a tragic one.
You mean like she's hurt, confused after the crash, wanders off and, I don't know, can't find her way back?
Exactly. And remember, it's February in New Hampshire. We're talking brutal cold, wind, the kind of weather that can kill you. Even if she was dressed for it, which most people don't think she was, it's dangerous.
Okay, now that's scary.
Hmm.
But if that happened, wouldn't they have found,
Or,
yeah.
you'd think, right. They've searched a lot over the years, the whole area. Nothing.
So we've got holes, and she ran away, and it was an accident.
Mm-hmm.
What about, I don't know, foul play? It's a desolate area, not a lot of evidence. Hard to ignore that possibility.
It is. And it's always been a part of this case. No footprints, her scent. It's like it just stops at the car. Makes you wonder if someone gave her a ride. Maybe someone she knew, maybe not.
Didn't some people say they saw someone like Maura around that time?
There were sightings, yeah, and those have kept people guessing for years. But even with those, even with a few people who might have crossed paths with Maura, there's nothing solid, nothing connecting anyone to her disappearance for sure.
Okay, gotta ask. The A-frame house theory. The one that makes everyone go, whoa, creepy. What's the deal with that?
Yes, the A-frame. Definitely caught people's attention. Feels like something out of a movie, right?
Totally. Tell me everything.
So, not too far from Maura's car, there's this abandoned house. An A-frame, hence the name. Years after she vanished, they bring in cadaver dogs, right? Part of a new search. And guess what? They get a hit at the A-frame.
Wait, hold on. They found what? Okay, yeah, now that's creepy.
And it gets creepier. They search the house, and in the basement, they find wood, stained with blood.
Whoa. Case closed.
Not quite. Important thing. They never proved it was Maura's blood. No DNA match, no other evidence putting her there for sure. So scary, definitely. Helpful, not really.
Another dead end. What about serial killers? This part of the country's had some big cases.
True, and some investigators have looked into it. But, like a lot of this case, there's nothing directly linking Morris to any known serial killer. Their methods, where they were, the timing, nothing lines up. Could it be? Maybe. But we just don't know.
So that's it. More questions, no answers, like you said before.
In some ways, yeah. But just because it's a cold case officially doesn't mean it's forgotten. Documentaries, podcasts, even just people online talking about Maura, keeping her story alive. And that's important.
Because you never know, right? Someone might hear something, remember something small, a tiny detail they didn't think was important before, and maybe that's it, the thing that breaks the case wide open.
Exactly. And the FBI, they haven't given up either. A couple years back, they made a VCAT profile for Maura. That means they're comparing it to other unsolved cases, looking for connections, anything that could give them a new lead.
And through all of this, there's Maura's family. Never stopped searching for answers.
Yeah.
Never stopped talking about her. That's got to be tough. But
It's inspiring.
Yeah.
They haven't given up hope. And honestly, neither should we. Maybe, just maybe, the key to figuring out what happened to Maura, it's out there. A little clue, a memory, something someone's held on to all these years, waiting for the right time to share it.
It's kind of both, Hunting, thinking that the answer might be right there, but we're just missing it. But also hopeful, because it means there's still a chance, even a small one. And that's worth something, right? Thanks for taking this deep dive with us. It's a case and a story that really stays with you. And who knows, maybe something we talked about today will spark someone's memory. Until next time, keep asking questions, keep searching for answers, and as always, thanks for listening.